Welcome to Violin Adventures number 199. Well, this past week, I came down with a cold, and in the middle of that, then we got stung by the bees when a huge storm came through and knocked over our nice big hive. So in the process of trying to stand the hive back up, we both got stung. My dad did get stung quite a bit, but he usually recovers pretty well. Whereas for me, they attacked me and I had a reaction, but I'm quickly recovering. So in this episode, we're just gonna do a few little interesting tidbits, and then next week, we're gonna celebrate all of you who are watching. So hope you enjoy. This week was an exercise in turning our troubles into opportunities. It has been a few days. The shop has been silent and we've been laid up, not only from a cold but from the bee stings. So last night I came down here and just vacuumed the shop. So let's go back into a back room and look at a big dresser that needs some tender care. Just here we are in a back storage room, and we've got this dresser that needs some polishing and maybe some touch up and some cleanup. So I think I'll work on that. Right, so here we are on the floor. I have, this part is the worst part of this dresser because it is very dirty. I went into my cupboard and I found I have this. It's called Touch of Oranges. It's a moisturizing wood cleaner and reconditioner for all types of wood. It contains no wax, no silicone, no water or alcohol. Well, let's see how it goes. Okay, it sure looks good as I put it on. I'm also trying to rub off all the dirt and maybe wax from waxing floors or something. Okay, there was our trial. We did the worst part. Now I gotta go do some tutoring and then we'll come back and see if it still looks good. Well, here's our violin from the 1700s, and I did replace the pegs with boxwood pegs, so they're working much better. We got a package in the mail. Let's open it up together and see what needs to be done. Okay, this poor violin is in a sorry shape. The nice thing is that it has very nice close grain. Look at here, the neck has got cracks and lots of repairs to it. So it's not holding. It is loose. So we have here all the accessories we might need. But we're going to save this for next week when I have all my strength back and I can really pour myself into the instrument.
Hi, I'm Freddie, and the next episode is the 200th episode. Yay! Well, this week, my boss has been really sick, and the bees got at her and my grandpa, and so they have been they've been snoring. They've been snoring in their beds. So while they were gone, I was sneaking around the shop. And guess what? I found a secret. I found an old mailbox. Do you want to see it? Well, here it is.
Well, Freddie did a great job recording this mailbox. It is very heavy and it is made out of iron. patent pending from 1882.
Isn't that special? I found that when I was looking around. I was sneaking around the house. I'll see everyone next week in the 200th episode. Bye!
Alrighty, it's been quite a day today. Dad just got back from the hospital getting a cataract removed, and I came down to look at the shop. It's the end of the day, and we've got our 1700s violin here with the new pegs. We want to play it and see how it sounds. I think it definitely wants to sing. Is becoming more luscious. Just what I wanted. Volume is coming way up, and the tone is widening out as the molecules are going where they need to go now. The tone is widening and opening up and becoming more luscious. Well, time for a story. We're reading out of Violins and Violinists by Franz Varga, and we're on page 53. We are talking about Giuseppe Guarneri, the last of the great Guarneris. And it says, at last he found his final design, and now there began the third and last period of his career, unfortunately too short for the brilliance of his artistic achievement and interrupted by a sad incident. His violins are built with meticulous care, made of the choicest wood, elegantly designed with touches of originality, especially with regard to the corners of the ribs and the F-holes. Their greatest charm, however, is the amber varnish, with its translucent upper layers of red, resulting in the most wonderful reflections. Bergonzi once compared this varnish with the dying glow of the evening sun on the waves of the sea. Giuseppe Guarneri died in 1745. During the last few years, he created violins which belong to the most brilliant of their kind, among them Paganini's favorite violin, his Canon, as he called it, which he bequeathed to his native town, Genoa. There it can still be seen in a strongly guarded room in the town hall, suspended in a glass case, silent forever. Another of Guarneri's masterpieces from his last period is the King Joseph Guarnerius, which Hill sold, the Bazzini, and the Ferdinand David. And last but not least, the magnificent violin of the German master Ludwig Spohr, who received it as a gift. Spohr was almost crazy with joy when he got the Guarneri. He was convinced that only with this instrument could he give of his best. He had a luxurious violin case made to house this jewel. After an 18-month stay in St. Petersburg, he returned to Brunswick, where he was employed by the Duke. He obtained permission from his sovereign to undertake a concert tour through Germany, and it was on this tour, during a journey to Göttingen, that his precious Guarneri was stolen. Spohr describes the incident in his autobiography. The violin case with its contents was in my trunk, and the trunk was secured with strong leather straps to the back of my coach. As there was no peephole at the back of the coach, I made the coachman stop from time to time to make sure that the trunk was still in its place. We arrived at Göttingen late at night, and when we passed through the garden suburb outside the city walls, I stepped out of the coach for the last time to have a look at the trunk. Then I sat down again beside my accompanist, Benecke, and told him that my first step in Göttingen would be to get a strong iron chain and a lock. We had to stop at the city gate. While Benecke told the sergeant of the watch our names, I asked one of the soldiers standing about to tell me if the trunk was still at the back. "What trunk are you talking about?" he retorted. "I can't see one." Mad with rage, I picked up my hunting knife, jumped out of the coach, and ran back along the road to the place where I had seen the trunk for the last time. There was no trace of the thieves. Disconsolate, I turned back, and while my accompanist looked for accommodation, I went to the nearest police station, asking them to search immediately for my trunk in the houses of the suburb. But, to add to my anger, I was told that this task had to be carried out legally by the police at Winged, a neighboring place, and that I would have to report my loss there the next morning. As can be imagined, I did not sleep a wink that night. The next morning I was informed that an empty trunk and a violin case had been found in a field. In an ecstasy of joy, I went to the spot, hoping that the thieves had been content to take what was in the trunk and left the violin in its case. But this was not so. My dear Guarneri was gone. It was small consolation that the thieves had not noticed a precious Tort bow, which had been fixed to the inside of the lid. To this day, Spohr's Guarneri has never turned up again. Perhaps the thieves found out the truth of the violin maker's saying that it is easier to steal a baby than a valuable violin. They or a receiver may have offered the instrument to a collector, and it may still be undiscovered in some private collection. When Giuseppe Guarneri died, he was the last of his family, and the Guarneri dynasty came to an end. Although his colleagues regarded him during the last years of his life as one of their greatest masters, his name was completely unknown outside of Italy for a long time. It was only when Paganini established his fame with the Guarneri that musicians everywhere began to take notice of the name, and there was a run on the remaining Guarneri del Gesù violins. In his own native town, however, their creator had already been forgotten, and even his grave was unknown. Well, next time we'll take up with Chapter 5, which is entitled Cremona after Stradivari and Violin Making in the Rest of Italy. Vayedeu ki ata shimka Hashem levadecha elyon al kol haaretz. And they will know that you, whose name is Hashem, alone art the most high over all the earth. If you know where this is found, please leave it in the comments below. Here's a beautiful Friday afternoon. Beautiful blue skies, and it's about in the 70s right now. Let's go inside and see what's happening in the shop. Here we are in the shop. We've finished up this beautiful 1700s violin, and it's coming out with just a gorgeous tone. Very fun to play. Here's our new violin, just getting started with the ribs on. Next will come the lining. And here's our next repair. And the problem with this poor violin is this neck is in terrible condition. Well, thank you so much for watching. Next week we come out with our 200th episode. I hope you all enjoy it. Thank you for your thumbs up and your wonderful comments. I appreciate all of you, and until next time, bye.